Minute to launch. We're live at the Guiana Space Center. The launch of Horizon 3E for Intelsat and SKY Perfect JSAT Corporation, built by Boeing, and ASA 2 Intelsat 38 for ASA Cosmos and Intelsat, built by Space Systems Loral. Our very best wishes now to all the teams. Let's sit back and watch the launch.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage Vulcain. Allumage EAP et décollage VA243 ceinture Ariane 5. À bord sont nominaux. La propulsion est nominale. Trajectoire toujours nominale. À bord sont nominaux, la propulsion est nominale. La propulsion est nominale.
Ariane 5, the 100th launch today. There she is, blazing a trail across the night skies here at the Guiana Space Center. I have to tell you that it's really remarkable seeing that with your own eyes and hearing it. You can actually feel the vibration. Coming up on separation of the boosters, hopefully we will see that with our own eyes. We've been very lucky to have such beautiful clear skies tonight.
Séparation des deux EAP.
And we have confirmation there of the separation of the two boosters. So we are shedding weight. They burnt their propellant. We don't need them anymore. And you can see them there. Those two dots going to the right and left. And the dot in the middle is actually the Vulcan engine. It's the engine of the main stage. So you can see the launcher is flying away from us. Over now to the CGI images to look at that.
La propulsion de
Look at the front of the vehicle, you can see that's what we call the fairing. The pointy bit at the front, our satellites are in there. It's protecting them from the rigors of the launch. But if you look at our altitude on the bottom left-hand side of the screen, you can see that we are now 100 kilometers above the Earth, and there's no longer any friction because the air is too thin for that to cause us any problems. And you can see this is the scheduled moment for separation of the fairing, and we've had that confirmed now by the range operations manager. And we can see how it bends as it falls. There, it's all part of the flat plan. It's called the breathing mode. So I am joined now here on the terrace by Laurent Jourdain, who was in the commentary box with Thierry. Hey Laurent, thank you very much indeed for coming here.
It's a pleasure to be with you tonight.
It's quite something, isn't it, watching a launch like this?
Yes.
You've seen a lot of these, but
yes.
Does it ever wear off?
Always. First the light and then the noise which vibrates internally and externally. It's amazing, always.
And then, of course, we had to wait for about 40 seconds or so before we actually heard it. So, Laurent, you must have seen a lot of launches, though.
Yes, I arrived there for flight 27. So that's almost 216 launch up to now. And 217 now. 217
launches. And so, I mean, what does it mean to you to have seen all these launches and to be part of such an important process?
Yes, usually in campaign I am the leader of the technical authority team for the launch vehicle. So I usually am in the CDL3 that you see just before. And I do not see the launch vehicle lift off at real time like it is now. So it is inside the blockhouse. But
it's quite a privilege for you to have seen it. And of course, because you've worked here for so many years, I think you were saying, what was it, 25 years with Arianespace
yes.
and 30 years in the business. It's really all about the people, isn't it, who make the space business?
Yes, it is really a human odyssey for this space activity. And I really I'm proud of this, let's say, competence and skillness, which is always given to succeed these launches and prepare them for weeks and weeks. And today I really want to specially, let's say, give a warm thanks to Reinhard Hildebrand, which is who arrived in French Guiana in 1984, and which will retire just after this launch, and all these years of patience and activeness on the launch vehicle activity.
And we actually saw Reinhard Hildebrand working. He's working tonight in the Launch Control Center, which is where you've spent many of your years.
Yes, that's right.
Working. And I was talking to him earlier, and he was telling me about how when he started back in 1984, they just had a little one fax machine. Listen, Laurent, thank you very, very much indeed for joining us. I'm going to send you back now to Thierry, and we are going to have a little look at the 100th anniversary of Ariane 5. Merci Laurent, désolé.
Le pilotage est calme, la propulsion est nominale. Dix, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, propulsion bloquée.
Off the screen. Our flight path takes us out across the Atlantic Ocean, along the equator, across Africa, and we'll start separating the satellite off the east coast of Africa, this Charlotte Biscoe. And the ground stations along the flight path are tracking Ariane as she flies over, and we call it telemetry. And right now the main stage is getting ready to switch its engine off. It's called the Vulcan engine, that's it, on the left-hand side there of the big tube in the middle, that's the main stage. It's been propelling us into the sky for 9 minutes now, nearly 9 minutes. It's extremely powerful. It burns 320 kilograms of propellant per second. And here is the scheduled moment now for the separation of that. So the main stage engine has switched off and the upper stage engine switches on. We started with 776 tons, and now we've only got 30 tons left. So we've only got 3% of our original mass. And we're really beginning the next phase now in the journey. The upper stage has taken the wheel. Its job to transport the satellites. He's telling us that the propulsion is normal. Its job is to transport the satellites to their correct orbit so that we can release them. And we call this geotransfer orbit. From there, they'll have to travel on their own to their final position in space, which is called geostationary orbit. And that's 36,000 kilometers above the Earth. And the first satellite to be separated will be Horizons 3E. The owners are a joint